Hello, my name is Alexis Lucas, and this is my research article critique and presentation number 2. I have chose to do a qualitative review on the article Best Practices for Counseling Clients Experiencing Poverty, a Grounded Theory. The introduction of this article offers statistical evidence between the connection of living below the poverty line and increased mental illness. There is a brief expose on generational poverty, offering the reader an introduction to the systematic cycle of poverty through the lens of counselor-client relationships. Both the multicultural and social justice counseling competencies and the American Counseling Association assist counselors in being ethically informed advocates for this population. A conceptual model called the I Care model is used to help counselors in intervention when working with those experiencing poverty, assisting them in reflection, cultivating relationship, removing barriers, and encouraging strengths in the client. The research question used to study these connections is, what are the best practices and skills that professional counselors who work with clients experiencing poverty believe are necessary to effectively serve the population? The relationship between literature and the qualitative study at hand is detailed in the first 2 pages of the article. The initial foundation of the study is based on the link between individuals in the United States experiencing poverty and an increase in poor physical and mental health. This intersection between marginalized populations and poverty is referenced in related articles such as Social Class, Classism, and Social Justice, and Policy Brief, Extreme Poverty in the United States 1996 to 2011. These related forms of literature offer the study a firm foundation to build upon through both statistics and years of history between the 2 variables. The article is very descriptive when it comes to explaining the participants used in this experiment. First, the research team is introduced, consisting of 6 authors with a range of experience and specialties. These authors assisted in sampling the participants through interviews and analyzing data. The participants had to meet 3 criteria, including identifying as a professional counselor, practicing in a clinical mental health setting, and have at least 10% of their caseload experiencing poverty. The study specifies that there were no exclusions based on the participants' gender, age, racial or ethnic identity, or region of practice. Purposeful and snowball sampling were used to find participants, specifically counselors who were currently working directly with clients experiencing poverty. There were 21 total participants, all either independently or provisionally licensed to practice, and all either had a master's degree or PhD in a counseling specialty. The group of participants were gathered with the intention of providing data relevant to outlining best practices for similar groups of counselors working with individuals experiencing poverty. Before completing an in-depth individual interview, participants signed an informed consent and demographic questionnaire. The demographic questionnaire included a list of inclusion criteria previously used when selecting the participants. All 21 interviews were recorded and had a mean of 90 minutes in length. The interviews were conducted using the grounded theory and in a semi-formal format. 13 items were used to direct the participants in detailing their experiences in working with individuals experiencing poverty, but supplemental prompts were welcome in order to increase quality in the interview. One item was eventually removed as it did not provide meaningful data establishing best practices. Some of the other items included questions like, how does poverty or social class impact your work with clients? And what do you feel are key components or competencies when working with clients experiencing poverty? Provoking thoughts and experiences that added to the data collection. Edits were accepted and participants endorsed their written transcripts, making small adjustments as needed to make their points concise. There was a data analysis of the collected research detailed in a separate section. Keywords, phrases, and summarization were coded into transcripts by some of the authors on the research team. The initial transcripts were discussed among the team, and 112 unique codes were created to organize the data. The data was compared to some of the related literature to build a framework of themes and subthemes. An axial coding process was used, organizing the data into 5 axial themes, eventually developing a theoretical model. Journaling was used throughout the collection and analysis of data, allowing for an audit trail for the participants to analyze their interactions during the research process. By utilizing a grounded theory approach and coding interviews directly after completion, data collection was more accurate and credible. The study used strategies such as ethical validation, transferability, and sampling adequacy to increase overall trustworthiness. 5 themes were identified, and a visual figure was developed for easy access to the results. The 5 themes were training, awareness, knowledge, skill, and advocacy. Training is an important aspect of developing competency while working with individuals experiencing poverty. This includes both formal forms such as a graduate degree and informal training including personal or professional experiences with poverty, which are essential to well-rounded mental health care. Another theme, awareness, pertains to understanding socioeconomic experiences and managing expectations. This involves a vast amount of self-awareness. 3 subtypes exist in awareness, including A, self-awareness of social class identity, B, client worldview of social class identity, and C, counselor boundaries and wellness. The next theme is knowledge. There are 5 subtypes within knowledge that counselors identified as important when working with clients experiencing poverty. These subthemes include complexities and barriers of poverty experiences, privilege, oppression, and intersectionality, systems theory, severe and persistent mental health, illness, and crisis and trauma. These skills include A, a poverty-sensitive assessment, B, person-centered and relational skills, C, cultural broaching, and D, recognition of client strengths and empowerment. The final theme is advocacy, and there are 3 subtypes that are important in counseling individuals engaged in poverty counseling. The 3 subtypes are A, assist clients with problem solving and finding resources, B, increase client access, and C, challenge poverty stereotypes. Dealing with the coding of the data allows for some introspection into the results of the qualitative analysis. However, each theme is thoroughly covered in the research, including quotes from participants. This offers both relatable examples and groundbreaking introspection leading to better mental health care. Overarching theoretical guidance of the multicultural and social justice counseling competencies, the study is focused on providing ethical practices throughout its data collection and analysis. The participants were chosen based upon their experience counseling individuals experiencing poverty, education, and training, increasing the validity of the interview responses. In addition, utilizing the grounded theory model, past literature and findings were considered and compared to the results of this qualitative experiment. This increases the reliability as it is cross-referenced with other like-minded sources. In addition, all participants completed a demographic questionnaire before the individual interviews. This offered transparency of potential bias and data pertaining to the overall ethics of the study. If I were to critique the ethics of the study in any way, I would suggest that more participants be used. The higher number of participants who display congruency in result coding would suggest a higher reliability of the study, in turn combating bias and/or assumptions throughout interviews as well as adding to the credibility. Solution to the study's findings reiterates the results of past research and literature, yet it also enhances information on providing advocacy. The research question is thoroughly answered and skills for best practice are plentiful. These practices urge counselors to perform thorough assessments and be prepared to offer resources through a poverty-infused lens. This can be done through philanthropy and engagement such as increasing pro bono or sliding skill services, as well as advocating on a social political level. A counselor's competency in the U.S. generational poverty cycle is advocacy in itself, yet championing for clients at a social political level is a display of alliance. This alliance is a powerful foundation for therapeutic rapport. The implications to these findings include a call for action for counselors. This call is to implement best practices identified in the model into sessions and relationship building with all clients, but specifically with those identified as experiencing poverty. The suggestions throughout the study provide real-life examples in improving counseling services and a guide to mental health professionals in serving clients experiencing poverty. As a future counselor myself, I truly took this study and its results to heart. When working with individuals experiencing poverty, we must hold them to the highest regard. being available for both mental health support and ready with resources to combat the ugly cycle of poverty every day. These are the references that I used for my study. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day.